Hi, this is Carrie Hand from Aliens, and you're listening to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Review podcast. The episode mostly comes at night. Mostly.
They've conquered the big screen. Now, get ready for the spin-off sure to send chills down your spine. It's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin in Don't Go Out There, the series.
Welcome back, everybody, to DGOT, the series. We really appreciate y'all listening. We hope y'all have been enjoying these series reviews. I know we have. It's been a lot of fun. Just want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Everything about our podcast is on the website. All of our episodes and interviews, if you want to check those out. We've done some incredible interviews in the past. Go check them out there in a specific tab by themselves so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of episodes on Apple or Spotify, etc. We also have our store if you want to grab a shirt, a mouse pad, a hat, all that good stuff. We'd love to see your pictures, rep your favorite podcast. And Shan's Etsy page is also attached if you want to grab a tumbler. All of our social media links are on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Like us, subscribe us, follow us, all that good stuff. And the last thing I want to shout out on our website is our Patreon. We call it Blood Donors. We have the traditional monthly reoccurring kind. If you want to support us, help us pay the bills, as we say. Or if there's a movie you want us to review, that option is available as well. Just check out our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Also, if you haven't noticed, we've recently joined the Believe Network. So there's some ads on our program now. But if you want ad-free content, go check us out on Blood Donors. The ad-free episodes will be available there. We appreciate your support. We are continuing on with Alien Earth with episode 2, Mr. October. I will just give my quick general thoughts. I thought it was another well-made, well-acted, good episode, but I'm just really getting lost in the sauce with all the different storylines. I touched on that during my notes. Maybe I'm just not locked in as good as I am, but there's just a lot going on, and maybe that's just me, but I will admit that the show is it's well made as well. I have no complaints with that. It's just a lot to absorb. Brian, what do you think about episode 2?
I mean, it's no Bates Motel where nothing goes on.
Hey, calm the fuck down now.
Listen, I haven't watched episode 3 yet, but I loved this one. I'm fully locked in 100%. Now, yeah, there's still time for them to royally fuck this up. Like, I can name a lot of shows that had me until a certain point, too. But like Romulus, this is, you can tell just another love letter to the franchise. It fits right in there with 1, 2, 3 and Romulus. And if you can't tell, I'm pretty fired up about this new Alien and Predator franchise administration, I guess, for lack of a better word. The people steering the ship have me super excited, and I loved this episode.
I thought it was good. I've got it in my notes, but I think the episode looked a lot cooler than episode 1. The story, I can definitely see what you're saying, Nico. Like, if you're not all the way locked in, it might, there are multiple moving parts, but I think they're doing a good job of bringing them back together or putting them on the same path enough for me to stay invested. No secret, I'm not a huge Alien fan, but I do like you said, Brian, this current administration, as you called it. I like where they're heading. They're doing a good job. They're making movies and now shows that I actually care about and I'm invested in. So yeah, no complaints. Well, maybe some minor complaints that I'll touch on, but no real complaints with episode 2.
I want to steal something that Dustin says a lot. With all these different stories, I would rather just see one long movie with each story instead of 8 episodes. That's just me right now. That could definitely change for the next 6 episodes.
You're right. I agree with this, but since TV shows are never going away, apparently, much to my dismay, I think they're doing a good job through 2 episodes of making me not dread it. Like, no offense, Bates Motel, I was already dreading it by episode 2. I'm not this one.
Even The Last of Us, I just kind of feel like that there wasn't enough going on. So to me, this is just an awesome follow-up to that where it's just a shitload going on. So it's just, I'm like, hell yeah, this is what I'm talking about.
Well, stay tuned. Maybe this show in episode 7 will give us a flashback to Mary scissoring some girl in the mall for the whole episode.
I knew you were going to say that.
We can only but hope, right? All right, guys, let's jump into the scene by scene. Mike's doing that. Go ahead, brother, whenever you're ready.
All right, here we go, guys. We open with Hermit and crew walking around the ship, and they stumble across a dead body, and one of them yells, "Fuck me." Hey, Hermit says he doesn't think it died in the crash and says to look it in the eyes. He proves his point more and then says, "Let's go check with forensics." Hermit says it's bad, and there's 1562 foreign bodies, and by foreign, he means alien. They continue to walk around and head up the stairs to check out more of the ship. We see a woman at a computer checking for candidates for this body swap thing, and Boy Cavalier is indifferent about it. He says that the fear is that we humans build a brilliant machine that will build an even smarter machine, and so on and so on. It's a human intelligence race. The woman says we need to improve the quality of life for them, or we've just built more consumers. Boy Cavalier says it's not about the money, like he's the Joker. He says he wants to talk to someone smarter than that. He wants to climb to the top of the mountain and debate with someone that will blow his mind. He thinks giving Wendy her brain will finally give him the interesting conversation that he's been looking for. We cut to Wendy and slightly looking out the window, and Wendy begins to tell him all about her brother and that he's down there saving lives. She says he's not premium like us. He can break at any time, and she's going to save him. Here we are with Ghostface Kirsch, and he tells the crew to ready themselves and get up, and now we're back with Hermit and crew. This other dude says, we're going to have to jump, and the woman says, fuck that. Herman sits there kind of like a little bitch, but he contemplates life and contemplates his decision. Just as he's about to, he turns and spots a xenomorph in the ceiling and points his gun at it. The alien comes in the room like a Kool-Aid guy and chases off Hermit. Hermit finds a room to hide as he reports what he saw, and we fade to a transition scene that was one day earlier.
All right, got to point out, first off, how that opening title screen did this recap. I mean, that's fucking cool. And very unique. Just some music, no dialogue, just very short clips of the stuff we saw in the first episode with flashes of the xenomorph, all with that Alien Earth title overlaid. I love that shit. I thought that was very compelling. It hooked me. I wanted to also point out that the director of this episode, Dana Gonzalez, did this one in the next episode. I don't remember if we said that or not, but co-writer Noah Hawley did the first one. I also wanted to say the moments with the xenomorph here at the start of this, blending into the ship, stalking them, beautiful. Shades of James Cameron there, hiding the xenomorph in plain sight until the perfect moment. Again, it feels like Aliens, where I personally fell in love with the franchise. That quote, "We are search and rescue. Let forensics Agatha Christie that shit." That's the most realistic thing I've seen in this show. Not my fucking job. Let's go. That's the workplace that I know and love. Sound design, I think, is perfect as well. Jeff Russo is the composer, but I'm talking about with the ship creaking and being able to hear the steel bending. Maxa Bruno, the sound coordinator, and her team, they also did Romulus 2 and the latest Predator short that the guys did an instant on. Don'tGoOutThere.com. Adds to that tension, and like we've said a million times before, becomes a character on its own here, the same way it did in Romulus. And I think last week I referenced this flashback with Hermit and trying to, resign last week, a la Romulus, but I had seen this episode already, so I was totally getting the two mixed up. My bad on that. The two episodes were definitely merged in my head. But regardless, fantastic open. It feels like I'm watching a blockbuster movie and not a TV series. And that's kind of funny you guys mentioned that earlier about it. Like, I feel like every episode is like the first two I watched together consecutively, and it felt like a movie to me.
Yeah, the production is very good. Another beautiful set piece starting off, very tense as this team looks through the ship and we see something move in the shadows. Boy Cavalier, this is some really good review talk by me, but Boy Cavalier reminds me of the villain from the other guys, David Ershon, just the looks. Like, I don't know why that came to mind, but I immediately thought of that. Shout out to the other guys, underrated comedy. Cavalier, super condescending. Being a trillionaire isn't about money or ego, but wanting to talk to someone smarter than you. That feels very ego-driven to me, if you ask me. He's super rude to Dame, basically called her dumb and unable to have an intelligent conversation. Dustin, don't make any women comments right there, please. Slightly gave away Wendy's secret with a quickness. Bro is worse than Glenn from The Walking Dead. And I got to admit, I miss reviewing season 2. God, that was a good times. Good times, guys. That boy Hermit, like me for real, I'd be terrified jumping to this other set of steps. Like, I'm scared of heights. I'm scared of falling. Like, yeah, I'm not cool with that. Then he gets xenomorph saliva dripping on him. And I got a question about that later. He might have bigger problems than expected than, clearing this gap. Chase scene was awesome, but man, he's lucky. That man had the fastest elevator in the world. I've never seen elevator doors close that fast. He's a lot more chill on this radio giving warning than I could be. I'd be shaking. And this is the last thing I got. Not a bad opening. Still feel a bit overwhelmed with what's going on, but it was good.
Hey, is your question that it's not acid and it's not burning through him with that saliva?
Yes.
I know. That's a good question. I want to know the same
because
thing.
they did that later too
different.
when Folk was in the room and after all the poltergeists got slaughtered. I was like, isn't their saliva acidic or are they all different?
Yep. It's got to be some sort of different alien. That's the only, or else they fucked up, and I don't think they fucked up. So something we just don't know yet.
That's fair. They definitely could be something different.
Did you say something about a woman having an intelligent conversation?
Oh, here we go.
My headphones cut out. I was just making sure I heard you right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They're very capable of that. I think we get a great shot of a xenomorph passing behind Buddy walking on the ship. That's very authentic to the franchise. Like, they're kind of ominous lurking. I really like that. Solid tension as they're looking around. And then we get another great shot of a xenomorph moving in the background when he said, day keeps getting better and better. But I don't really buy that the xenomorph would just be chilling there. Like, unless I'm missing something, like, don't those things usually attack on sight? They don't really stalk their prey like a predator. Like, they're about that action. So it's kind of weird because it was just sitting there like it was watching that whole scene unfold and then moved. But that's okay. Great stuff with the xenomorph coming down through the ceiling and chasing Hermit. Like, that just looked awesome. Like, it was a great chase scene and it looked really good when it was running and jumping and everything. It was good. It's not a bad opening set of scenes at all.
And it's not just that stalking part. I do agree with you. It's also like the xenomorph itself looks a tad different. It's not as slimy and just like it has been the rest of it. And like I said, I think that it's on purpose. I don't think that that's an accident. I think that there's something we don't know about yet, which I don't know if I'm going to love or not, but we'll see.
Could also be a budgetary thing. I don't know.
Spent it all on Black Sabbath last episode.
We're back with Hermit as he hears his name and number called with a scene card that lets us know that this was yesterday, not today, fucking yesterday. Shout out to Mike Leach. That was last fucking week. The machine calls him Prodigy Medic Hermit and wants to know what the fuck he wants. I'm just kidding. He tells him that he has 7 months, but he's requesting a special leave and exactly why. He pleads that he has a medical school scholarship and that he has to do this now. He tells the machine to have a heart or face his fury. Wendy has been watching this whole time and asks, his fury or what? The crew is stunned at Wendy's skill. Hermit's request is denied, and Asshole Machine tells him to have a nice day. We're back with Wendy and crew, and they make it to the city, and it looks like War of the Worlds down here. We see Boy controlling this buzzing that Wendy is constantly hearing, and a soldier comes and gets them and shoos them this way. We see the soldier explaining to Ghostface Curse that the situation at hand is dire. He says he was expecting backup hours ago. Then Curse says that there are special units sent by the founder. And Wendy is fucking touching a whole bunch of shit that she shouldn't and asks what floor they're on. She takes off and Curse sends Slightly to go with her. We're back with Boy and he's on a Zoom call with Yutani. She says it's been an expensive day. Boy says, yes it is, especially in terms of life. They argue back and forth about land and shit as Boy kind of hangs up on her because he says this stuff is what lawyers are for. Back to the special unit, and they're walking around again. They pass what looks like a Macintosh from 1996, and that leads them to a room that we know that the xenomorph was just in. They stumble into an alien life form dripping from the ceiling. The crew wants to shit themselves like me on Dustin's porch, but they go look for something to catch it. But they come up on 2 people tied to a pole and a little mini alien on a lab table. Just then, the ugliest fucking cat I've ever seen turns its head and sees them. The eye pops out of the cat. It's an alien, and it chases after them. They're able to capture it under a container as the scene fades to black. And then we're back to Wendy and Slightly walking around, and they see, quote, bear claws, and they kept on walking.
It does seem pretty unique here. Even Kid Kazillionaire, whatever his name is shocked to see Wendy be able to manipulate tech the way that she does. And unless I'm mistaken, because again, the franchise stops at 3 for me. But I'm pretty sure that this is the first time that we see anyone with that sort of ability. So that definitely has me curious to see where they go with that as well. Speaking of not sure where they're going, I definitely noticed the homage to Blade Runner when we see that overhead shot here of Prodigy City. I mean, we mentioned last week how that was kind of expected and here with the series as well. Now, I do know that this is the first time that we ever get to see the Utani in Wayland Utani at any point in the franchise, played here by Sandra Yee Sinsendiver. And anyway, this whole dynamic here between the companies is also a very interesting thing. I'm kind of excited to explore. It's almost like every company is a country in a way. They even have their own army. It's very very interesting. When I first heard of this prequel series and that it was on Earth, in my head I was like, oh god, because I was picturing like I guess modern day Earth, like the awful Alien versus Predator abortions that they put out. But it definitely caught me off guard, like how interested in this whole power dynamic that I am as well. It was also interesting to see how the Lost Boys, quote unquote, act in actual, and as Dean Norris said in Starship Troopers, live fire exercise. I thought it was cool to see how they, reacted in real time there. I like how it still though reminds you that they're kids. Now, obviously, the bigger surprise is when they find that T Oculus and that fucked up cat, which admittedly was the first time in the show that I thought, yeah, that CG doesn't look good. That's all I had on set.
If there's anything I've learned on this show is Brian does not like villain versus villain movies. Anybody else catch that? I'm a Freddy versus Jason stan. I'll go to the grave with that one.
They could have done it so much better. Anyway, go ahead.
They probably could have. But 12-year-old me loved it. But anywho, the future is even more bleak, it seems, to accomplishing dreams. Hermit got told to fuck off and have a productive day, not a nice day. We don't give a fuck if it's good or not. A lot of dialogue, Kirsch being filled in with the happenings. To me, it was just kind of hard to take notes. I was just kind of watching it. At this point, I keep mentioning this, I'm getting more overwhelmed with all that's going on. A series, like I told at the beginning, a series is the place to do this, having so many moving parts and stories. But it's just hard to keep up with and get invested. But that's just how I'm feeling now. Timothy Oliphant's look continues to be odd and, pretty funny to me, actually. This cat sure ain't no Jonesy, I tell you what. Parasitic eye and it can't walk. Hate to see that. And what are these people doing? They got the survival skills of a college-ruled notebook. Like, what are you doing? Like, avoid the bug, you idiots. I thought it was just an okay set of scenes. This might be a hot take, but I wish the show took like a Haunting of Hill House approach, honestly, and just established each group and story instead of just bouncing around all over. But that's just through 2 episodes so far.
Bounce around doing some things. Jimbo Fisher.
That take really does check out with your hatred of nonlinear storytelling. Like, it's of the same ilk. So I get it.
Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap.
Finding out that he tried to resign yesterday is crazy. I would be inconsolable if I tried to quit and was denied, and the next day I'm being chased by a xenomorph like everybody's dying. Pretty cool seeing Wendy use her new powers, for lack of a better term, to watch and then find her brother. That was awesome to see. I'm really not a fan of the CG cat. Like, I just think it looked bad. It's cool in theory.
Thank you.
But the execution just left a lot to be desired. The cat's eyeball going on the offensive, that was cool too. Like I said, in theory, but it just looks so much cheaper. I know it wasn't cheap to get those effects, but it looked so much cheaper than the rest of the series. But yeah, this is a decent set of scenes overall.
I'm with you, Dustin.
We're back to Hermit trying to get a hold of someone and say what and tell them what he saw. They're knocking on a door to clear the building, and then a 1700s looking fucker pops out and says they're having a dinner party and to leave them alone. He says if there's a problem, that boy would just contact them directly. Just then we see a xenomorph in a great close-up shot, and it's taking out motherfuckers. It crashes the party, and we hear a ton of screaming, and we see that other guy's face has been ripped off. We see the 1770s fucker body ripped in half, and the top half is crawling around on the ground, and then bam, Kool-Aid Xenomorph comes through and tries to eat Kermit. He shoots at him and brings a stop to him, and then we see a returning Morrow come with a web gun and web gun this alien and take him away. We're back to Ghostface and his crew looking at the cocoon alien, and Kirsch hooks himself in the computer system to figure out that this ship was a research vessel. The soldiers walk up to Morrow and tells him he has to move now. Then they ask him what's in the bag. What's in the bag? He has what's in the bag he has, and then all of a sudden the bag moves. They try to arrest him, but he tells them that he's the least of their problems as the xenomorph hops out with a cool over-the-shoulder shot looking at the alien as he tears these fuckers apart. Just then, this plant-looking alien that's hanging starts to sprout off, and we get Kirsch give the crew instructions as the scene fades to black.
Definitely my favorite set of scenes in the movie here. I mean, the whole thing here with the socialites reminds me of Blade in some aspects. I don't know. But you just pretty much know that it's going to be a shit show, and it doesn't disappoint. Now, that shot over the soldiers, I guess a soldier, search and rescue soldier, whatever, but his shoulder when the xenomorph just beats the sonic rings out of that soldier, I guess, tosses his body into the party, was fantastic. And then we get that close-up overhead shot of Hermit laying on the ground with that soldier's body just laying on him with all the carnage going on in the background. A little critique I don't know, is that if I think they killed everybody too quick. Like, it was almost like 3 seconds. People running and screaming. It could have gone a lot longer for my taste anyway. And I don't know how much I love this weird Spider-Man web shooter stuff that Morrow hits the alien with here, or xenomorph. It almost seems a little advanced. And I mean, like, okay, why did the Marines and aliens not have this stuff? We've seen them use like nets, pretty much throughout the series to shoot at these xenomorphs a la the aforementioned Alien versus Predator movies. But this stuff seems pretty damn advanced. So I don't love it, because nothing should be more advanced than what we've seen, especially in Alien and Aliens, which comes after this show. So just my little nitpick there. It was a pretty badass close-up shot, though, when Morrow is confronted by search and rescue, and then the xenomorph pops out of that webbing, and you're just focused on Morrow's face until the aftermath. And the touch of, like at the end there with that helmet spinning when he turns around, was cool. But another nitpick, if all that shit was happening around him, we should have seen at least the chaos happening, even if it was blurred out around him, because there's just no way we wouldn't have seen something happening with the way that the camera was positioned and all that carnage was behind him. So I don't know. It is interesting that the xenomorph didn't attack Morrow, too. I mean, that's the only time that we've ever seen something like that, except for when there was an alien inside of the person already. So that's very interesting there. Does Morrow have a alien queen inside of him? Like, I don't want to spoil the movie because we haven't reviewed it, but like Alien 3. So I don't know. Anyway, overall, a few nitpicks, but I still love this set just for at least the socialite party scene.
Wow. Spoiled that movie for me, Brian. I was about to watch that one after this.
I bet you were.
That boy Hermit.
You'll forget it by the time I do pick it.
Probably. That boy Hermit just got the door slammed in his face by a founding father. We hate to see that. The xenomorph killing this soldier was horrifying, and this thing is scooting through this party killing folks. I loved it. Great effects on these soldiers, mangled face and jaw. I mentioned the man last week. I think his name was Brett Butt from Weta Workshop. As Hermit walks through this house, I am in awe seeing all the carnage. Holy shit. Hermit, like an idiot, drops a gun, but question, like I just mentioned, I think in the first set of scenes, don't xenomorphs have saliva that's like acid? Why is this one drooling all over Hermit and nothing happening? Morrow, I called it last episode. He shot Hermit with a quickness. I knew he'd be trouble. Morrow must do leg day, back day, and arm day 8 days a week, because the way he just dragged the xenomorph with no effort was crazy work. Great acting by Morrow. You can see the concern in his face with the xenomorph getting free. And it was awesome to see, like Brian mentioned, you don't see much, but you can hear the carnage behind him as he stood stoic. And why is Toodle standing face towards this alien's appendage that definitely looks dangerous? These characters are idiots. This is the last thing. I'm just ready for the end, but I did like that set of scenes. The episode started picking up for me right here.
Yeah, this is.
Morrow is not a real person, right?
Yeah, I'm just joking. He's a synthetic, ain't he?
Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah,
just making sure. Yeah,
there was a lot of joking going on in that one. 8 days a week doing all that.
I agree, Brian. This is my favorite set of scenes too, mostly because of how it looked. There's some really cool shots. We get another great background shot when Herman is banging on the door in that Xenomorph Rex shop. I mean, just awesome action here. And a really cool shot of it busting through the glass and jumping down to attack Hermit. And then a big twist when Morrow turns heel on Hermit. Well, I don't know if it's actually a heel turn, like he already turned heel in episode 1, but Hermit didn't know that. And we thought he was saving him here. Awesome shot, again, of the Xenomorph taking everyone out behind Morrow. The cinematography is elite in this episode. David Franco was the cinematographer for this one and 6 of the 8 episodes, but not in episode 1. And to me, it's a vast improvement. Like, he did such a better job. No offense to the guy that did the first episode, but it's just there's some shots in this one that they stood out. And I'm ready for the ending.
We're back with Wendy and Slightly walking around, and Slightly says, "There is a bear." Okay. We cut to Hermit waking up in the party room after having a dream, singing educational music. He comes across a baseball that is signed by Reggie Jackson. He says that this is the 1977 World Series ball between the Yankees and Dodgers as the game plays in the background. Just then, Wendy walks in the room and asks who he's talking to. He says he was talking to his dad and tells the story about Jackson and what he told him when he was younger. She reports to Kirsch that she found him, but Kirsch says he doesn't care about that. She needs to report to the front of the ship. There's cargo to secure. He says to quit acting like children, and just then the group leaves and heads to the front of the ship. As we're walking, Herman asks them why he called them children. Slightly becomes the worst secret keeper since Ed Kelsey and basically spoils exactly who Wendy is. She turns to him and calls him by his real name, which is Joe. She says that she's been watching him all this time, that he helps people. She repeats that "face my fury" line, and Hermit isn't really buying it yet. He says that "you died. I went to the funeral." She tells him that when she was sick, a boy genius came to visit me. He said that he could help, and he went to live with Kirsch and crew. He said that she would be okay, but she could never go home. She pleads with him to believe her story as they start to walk towards the cargo. Hermit tests her with memories, and she gets them all right. There's a look that overcomes Hermit's face, and he finally believes her as the two hug and embrace. Slightly calls him over to look at a room full of alien eggs, for lack of a better term. I don't know. That shit looks horrifying. The ringing being controlled by boys going off again as all hell breaks loose in the room around him. Just then we see Joe disappear, and a kick-ass song plays over the credits as Wendy tells Slightly to stay here.
So, yeah, right off the bat, shout out to Reggie Jackson. He was a baseball player, Nico, named Mr. October, which, the name of the episode, hint, hint, but just, I don't know. Thought you might want to know that. Some very standout, and again, like Dustin mentioned, creative shots here. And we get some shots of the crew from what seems like the perspective of the Xenomorph here stalking them, which, we kind of talked about. That's different. Again, if we've seen this before in the franchise, I do not recall. And I love the touching moment when Wendy finally convinces Hermit was it Marcy? Was Marcy the sister's real human name? I think it was Marcy. But anyway, Sydney Chandler, I think, once again, just kills it with the way that she portrays that emotion. It's like, it's something very real, and I don't even know how to describe it if you don't watch the show, but it's also something artificial that's not used to portraying emotion. And God, Sydney Chandler just killed it. And yeah, we finally get to arrive at the nest. It's covered with that all too familiar blue hue that we've seen before, and especially in the second one. And then we get just another banger of a needle drop. Like this time it's Stinkfest by Tool. We got, like I mentioned, Black Sabbath in the first one. I mean, just the money they spent on these credit songs. Damn, you could have fixed that CG cat earlier. Shit. But another good, great episode, I think.
Damn cat. I don't have a lot here, Dustin, just giving you a heads up. Nah, Slightly. It's not a bear that caused all the damage. It's a strange man in the woods. I'm kidding. Just the Dustinisms are rubbing it off on me. It's a xenomorph that wants blood more than Spartacus wanted Roman blood. Wendy admitting to Hermit she's a stage 5 clinger, watching him all the time on the monitors. I thought it was a sweet little moment between Wendy and Hermit as they catch up and reminisce on old times. These three done found the gold mine of xenomorph eggs. I don't know why they thought it was smart to walk into that blue light. Like, I just keep thinking, like, these folks aren't smart at all. Like, what is going on up there? I thought, the episode ends with a nice cliffhanger. Hermit snatched up, Wendy in pursuit. Hopefully for me, next episode, I just want some mindless action. I just want to see these people getting chased by aliens, fighting aliens. I just would like to see that for one episode.
That's fair. There's a lot more references to real life pop culture in this series than in the movies, like in the entire franchise. And I like that. I like it a lot. The Reggie Jackson baseball inclusion is just really, really cool to me. And, there's the Peter Pan, there's the Agatha Christie. Like, there's so many. They don't do that in the movies. And I don't know why. I know that this is not plausible and this is fiction, but it just adds to it and makes it seem like it could be plausible, like it exists in our universe. Right. And I like it.
I almost thought that it just was so far in the future that there was just nobody around to give those sort of references. So I do like exactly what you're saying, that it's close enough to our time, but far enough away from the other movies that they're able to do it. I agree.
For sure. It's really cool seeing Wendy interact with Hermit. Like, the look in her eyes just sells it so much. She did a great job of acting that scene. She's so excited to see him, and he just has no clue who she is. That stood out. And the interaction when she does reveal herself to him, that was intense. And when he finally accepts her, it's very touching, very well done. I loved it. Great tracking shot while they're discovering the eggs. That POV shot, I thought that stood out. And I like the score when Wendy runs off at the end too. This was a really solid episode with some great camera work. That was my favorite parts. I gave it an 8.5.
All right, guys. Any final thoughts? Thought it was another solid episode. And just throwing this out there, I don't hate nonlinear storytelling. Go ahead, you can end the episode now, Brian.
No, actually you do.
Hey.
It's one of those things, like, there's enough evidence out there that proves it to where I don't even have to say it anymore.
Saw is my favorite franchise. Like, you can't, like, that disproves it automatically.
That's like true. Saying I hate sour cream, but I really like it in this dish. Like, you like that instance of nonlinear storytelling. But on the whole, you're not.
I really don't like sour cream, but I do like sour cream and onion chips.
See, me too. I'm the same way. But that's what I'm saying. That's why I use sour cream, honestly, because that one hit home for me.
Y'all gotta grow up. It's good on anything.
It's gross.
See y'all.
Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you next week. And in the meantime, take care of yourself.
Just want to remind everybody.